Hello! How are we doing? So, some technical difficulties this morning because I got a new laptop between the last time I did this and now, and it's weird. I'm actually watching this on the phone and it's totally out of sync. Anyway, yeah, it deleted all my settings, so then yesterday I was like, I can't remember how to set any of this up, how to make sure that it goes onto Facebook and YouTube. So I'm hoping this is on Facebook and YouTube. I can see some comments coming through on Facebook, which is excellent. That is what we want. So weird that is out of sync. I should probably just get that phone out of the way. Hopefully I'm on YouTube as well. Let me just double check and make sure that that is also working. Let's find us. YouTube. So Confident Glasgow. I'm sure I did do a wee test you might have seen. Myra, I'm waving and forgetting it's not Zoom. Listen, I can feel it. I can't see it, but I know you're waving and that's nice. Okay, we are live on YouTube as well. Fantastic. That's good. Okay, so how did we all get on with the cutting out and fabric choices, etc. I'm really looking forward to seeing these. Thanks for checking, Myra. Much appreciated. There's definitely a delay on your comments coming through and me talking, so I won't ignore anybody. I will go back and make sure that we've got everyone. 36 viewers, fantastic. That's great for a Saturday. You should just be really sitting on the couch. I sit on the couch on a Saturday for about 10 minutes and then I'm like, right, that was enough relaxing for me. Like, what can I go and sew? Where can I go? Where will we take the dog? The dog is here today. I hope she doesn't bark. Steve's had to go to work. So that means that there's no one to make sure the dog doesn't bark when we're live. And there's no one to make me a cup of tea. So that's not ideal, but I just brought a wee bottle of juice up the stairs instead so I don't have to go downstairs. Right. Let me know how... So I want to know how many folk are going to sew along live with me today. That's the first question I've got. And I'll give you a wee second to answer. I have cut everything out. Obviously I've made excuse me, one of these before, but it was a wee while ago, so I can't actually remember exactly how to do it. So I have the instructions here that I will be reading, and just to make sure that I don't go too off piste, because if I start just doing what I think I should do, it will not go by the instructions, and then if anyone watches this back it will not make sense. So I will try and stick to the instructions. I've got them on my iPad here so that I don't have to print them out, save the planet and all that. So Nikki says, I've opted for the sunflower print. Trying to cut that out, being mindful of not having a flower over my boob. Nikki, I think a flower over your boob would be a great look, so I wouldn't worry. Anne says, I haven't received my pattern. You have to go and buy your pattern. The pattern company is a third party, so the link is in the Facebook. If Colette's here, she can put a link in. But yeah, the pattern is by a company called Sew a Little Seam. It's called the Ollie Bomber Jacket, but it's nothing to do with us. I'm just using it because I liked it. It's a nice pattern and it worked well. Myra says she's still cutting. Ellie's sewing live, fantastic. Ellie, you were sewing live with the kilo wrap as well, weren't you? That's pretty cool. Karen's just putting in a ballpoint needle. Liz is sewing live. Jacqueline is sewing the butterfly jacket. Is that like a similar one but a different pattern maybe? I think you might have told me about that. Can you guys hear me okay, by the way? Because I've got a different microphone this time. Because the last time I was live, I was using a microphone that was attached to my laptop. But my laptop, because it's doing a lot of stuff, the fan goes mad and then you can't actually hear me that well. But I've got a different mic and I'm hoping that it's all good and you can hear me okay. Ellie says, cutting my ribbon, does the stretch line basically mean grain line? So stretch line means that it should stretch in that direction. This is a stretch pattern. However, I, as you know, use the velvet, which is non-stretch for the body. As long as the cuffs, the wee neckline and the waistband bit are stretchy, then it's all good. Claire says fabric arrived yesterday, but I've not had a chance to cut it all out. Claire, was it one of our fabrics that went out of stock? I wonder, because we sent them out on Thursday when they came in, and I know that some of them were arriving yesterday. Alison, I've got out the fabric, but the pattern but not the fabric. Wasn't too sure. Myra, leopard waterproof outer, leopard print inner, amazing. So you're doing the lined one. I'm not doing the lined one today, just because it takes a bit longer, and I've already scheduled in like a tea break because I'm worried this is going to run over. 3 hours is quite a long time to be, honestly. I've got 2 lights here and they heat me up, and the sun's coming through the window as well. It's quite a long time to be under these artificial lights. I love turning into a raisin by the end of 3 hours if I don't get a break. Adele, not managed to cut out yet. That's cool. You don't have to sew long. This is going to be available afterwards as well, so don't worry. And I will go back and put in lots of wee markers in the YouTube video so that you can just skip ahead, so you can skip the chat and then you can just go to like whatever relevant bit that you need to learn. Mel is sewing already. Fantastic. That's my mum on the phone. Hold on a minute. Hi mum, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook right now. It's alright, what is it? What do you need? 6, I think. 6. Okay, thanks. It's okay, bye. Oh bless her, on a Saturday she's cutting out fabric for me in her house, and she just phoned in to ask some questions about it, but she didn't know I was live. She'll probably go and watch it now. Debbie, hello from New Zealand. Hello Debbie. One of Steve's friends from back when he lived in New Zealand. Dawn, I think we were separated at birth. We're pretty much wearing the same outfit, but you've got a black version. That's hilarious. Right, okay. Right, let's get started then, shall we? Let's have a drink of juice here. Stella looks like she's going to cause some mischief. She's been at her dog training today, so hopefully she'll just go to sleep. Right, so I've got some oh, that sun might be annoying actually. I've got some camera angles for you. Check this out. Been fiddling about with this technology this week. So here's a wee close up, which we knew. Oh, there's a candle in the background. Look at that. I've got the whole room. Which is this one. And it's supposed to have a close up as well, but it doesn't. Oh well, hold on, let me just fix that. It's supposed to have a little box with the close-up too, never mind. Hold on, let me see if I can do this. Look at that. I think I can do it. I will add it, give me 1 second. Video. Want. There we go. So we can get the close up and you can see what I'm doing as well at the same time. Cool. Okay, let's get stuck in, shall we? Right, so first thing is, I don't know if you guys have ironed on all of your interfacing, etc. I actually haven't done it yet, but I've got my new cordless iron to use there behind me, so I'm just going to iron the interfacing on as I go, because later on it might give some of you a chance to catch up if you have to. You might be speeding ahead of me at this rate when it's snail's pace here. Once I get started, it'll be fine. Right, okay. I shortened this pattern as well, by the way. Got quite a short body, and it meant I could, that one I managed to fit into a 1 meter piece, so that was pretty cool. Even with the pattern match at the front, I managed to fit it into a meter, so I was quite happy about that. Right, so we need, I do not need the sleeve, that can go under the table. I do not need the back. I need the 2 front pieces. Pattern piece can go over there. I've already marked in where my pockets are going. And I need the interfacing bits that are here. Don't need that. Pocket pieces you will need in a minute. Wrist cuffs, don't need. Right, got all the bits I need. Right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my interfacing and I'm going to iron it to the wrong side of where my pocket goes. I wonder if I could just tilt you down a wee bit and then you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Yeah. So I'll just pin these on. Thankfully I can see through the interfacing, so I can see exactly where I want these to go. Colette is on the chat for us for a bit today as well, so if I miss any of your questions, she'll catch them. Okay, I'm just going to pin this interfacing on and then press it. Make sure it's the sticky side down, obviously. There's also a bit of interfacing that goes onto your top pocket piece. Just this wee bit. So this says, if you think I hadn't done this before, it wasn't that long ago. Okay, apply your narrow welt strip of interfacing to the wrong side of your longer pocket piece, keeping it a ½ inch from the straight edge. So, get my measuring tape. Okay. Right, I'm going to go and press them. Great new cordless iron. I'm loving this. Who knew that was a thing? those bits done. Okay, don't need the iron. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my panels and let's do this pocket. Okay, so what you need then is you need these marks to be available on the right side as well. So I'm just going to mark them in quickly. Or really you need that centre line ideally. So I'm just going to sort that out right now. These Choco liners are amazing for marking on velvet, I've discovered. Other chalk is a bit of a struggle, especially if it's a thicker pile. This one isn't a very thick pile compared to the blue, which is super luxury. So the peacock and the diamond velvet, they were both heavier and a thicker pile velvet, but like so nice, super nice. Okay, remark. I'm very excited about this yellow one. I think it's going to be pretty bonkers, but I am totally up for it. It was probably between this and maybe the peacock velvet, but then the peacock velvet's quite similar to the navy blue that I've got there anyway, so I thought just be bold. Right, let me just figure it out. This pocket piece it's quite hard to figure out what way it goes up, but if you put the pattern piece on, then the way the writing is will be the right way up for the pattern to, so that you can put a wee marker or whatever if you want on the top. So that you can kind of guess, I suppose, because you need it so that the hands can go in and down into the pockets. So there is a slight, this curved edge, it does go down ever so slightly, so this would be the bottom of the pocket and that would be the top. Okay, let me pin this on and then maybe I'll switch my camera to the MacBook camera so that I can show you this. Oh, thanks Ellie. It's pretty wild. I'm so sniffy today. Is anyone's hay fever bad? Is it just me? I thought I was done. with the hay fever, but today it is pretty bad. Okay, so working from the right side of the fabric, place your longer pocket piece, the one with this bit of interfacing on it, right side down with the straight edge meeting at the eye shape, which is the shape that I've just drawn on, that I've just chalked onto here. You can hardly see it. And curve towards the centre front. Okay, so the main bit of the pocket has to go towards where the centre of the bomber jacket is. Starting at the short end of the eye, so a 1/2 inch in from the straight edge until you reach the bottom of the eye. Back stitch at the bottom. Okay, right, so I'm going to pin this on, then I'm going to show you what I'm doing. There should be, what you need to have, let me switch again. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'll put the close up on. That's what this is for. Right. So here is my centre front. Here is where my pocket's supposed to go. This is my side seam here. Here is my top pocket piece. And the kind of eye shapes there and there. I've only done a little line just now, but you need a little bit of this pocket piece to go over that line. There has to be some seam allowance there. It should be about 1 centimetre over. So I didn't have much over when I did the blue one, and it gave me some problems later on, so this bit's important. So pin that on, then we're going to stitch. If you want, again, you can mark where the top of the kind of eye shape is here. There. And it's there. I'm just going to roughly chalk in. Right, ideally you want to be stitching on your interfacing for this, so move it over a wee bit if you need to. That's my line there. I want to just draw myself a stitching line here, I think, just to keep me right. There we go. Then you want to do the same on the other one. Get some yellow. Red. I feel like, see, at the weekend my brain goes off. I'm not in work mode at all, but I guess that's why a Saturday so long is free, because I am not on my A game on a Saturday. My brain's like, cool, it's the weekend, and I had some wine last night, so it doesn't really help either, does it? Yes, the lives are still available after. So this goes on to YouTube pretty much instantly, and Facebook actually. It'll go onto Facebook pretty much instantly as well to be able to watch back. Okay, so here, if you are using a jersey, you still need to use a non-stretch stitch because you've got a interfacing here that is stopping anything from stretching. So I pretty much use, in fact throughout this, because I've got a non-stretch fabric here, I'm using a non-stretch stitch. I'm just using a standard straight stitch for everything, and a little bit of the overlocking as well to stop it fraying. This velvet actually isn't too bad. I can't remember if the deluxe velvets fray quite bad. Cannot remember. But I'll be using the overlocker as well. So I will. Lynn says you've got the overlocker, the sunflower kit, and you're just cutting out your pattern now. Cool. You feel like you've just got a bit of company, don't you, when you're on one of these lives? A bit like being at a social if you're just cutting out. Right. Okay. So reverse, and so I'll be reverse at the start and at the end of that, and then do the same to the other side. So I'm going to grab my other piece and do exactly the same. And mark in. And yes, you can. You do not need an overlocker to make this pattern. You can just use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine. I'm only going to be using the overlocker for any edges, so you can use a zigzag. Absolutely fine. Don't need one. Let's just draw this in again. Okay, so exactly the same again. I sometimes find it useful to have the piece that I've just done, especially with something like this, with this pocket where it's actually quite counterintuitive, because it doesn't look like how it's supposed to look when it's finished, so sometimes you can get mixed up and sew the pocket on the wrong way. So if you've got the piece that you've done right the first time there, then you can make sure that this piece that you're working on now is a mirror image. Don't want you to see that big ugly light there. Right, okay, there we go. Okay, so just making sure I'm getting the placement of this perfect. I'm going to draw my line in as well. I meant to pick up needles from the studio the other day because I'm down to my last one. So I have one needle. Let's hope I don't need any more. That's bad, isn't it? Own a sewing tuition company and you're about to run out of needles for your machine. Oh, the pattern matching is something that I do now. It never used to bother me, but now I'm like, I know how good things look when you pattern match them. Become a bit obsessed with it. And this is the right side, so this is right sides together, so it's the right side of my pocket to the right side of the velvet here. Yes, the wrong side of my velvet's white, so it's really easy to see when I'm working with the right side and the wrong side. Maybe we can put that down there. Is that better? That over there. That down there. Samantha, you've really not missed very much, even though we're 34 minutes in. Whoops. Okay. We are done. Okay, cool. This pocket is the trickiest bit of the whole thing, by the way. Okay, we've done that. Okay. So grab your other pocket. Oh, honestly, I just got this iPad and I totally can't work it. Other pocket piece. I think my seam allowance is a bit big on that. Actually, I might trim that. Where are my scissors? Oh no, Myra, that would have been pretty noticeable, I think, if you'd cut that upside down. Okay. Right, I've totally done this pocket too far over. I've just noticed. Oh no, I'm not going to unpick it. Will I unpick it? No, I'm not going to. Right, okay, so if you're doing this pocket, the first row of stitching has to go to the, depending on what side you're doing, the left or the right hand side of the eye shape. So the eye shape should actually be in the middle, so I'm going to just go with it. So if you've done it, it will be fine. You've still got enough space to do this. I think you've still got enough space. Let me check. Yes, there's plenty of seam allowance at the side there. So basically, you should have sewn from the wrong side. The stitch line that I have put in there is in the centre of that eye, but it should be to the side of the eye. But I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to unpick it. it should be fine. Let me just double check. Yes, it will be fine. You'll understand what I mean in a minute. So, from my wrong side, my eye shape, I'm going to have to just move it over a wee bit. I'm going to move over to... As long as the bit that you're moving the eye over to has interfacing, it'll still work. And as long as you do both of them the same, it'll still work fine. Right, I'll show you what I've done here. So, get this over. And I'm going to my close-up. Right. So you should have your eye shape here. So you can see my original eye shape was there. The lighting's not very good here. And I have just, my stitching line should be to either the left or the right hand side of your eye shape. So that should be the centre of your pocket, but because I've stitched that in the centre first time round by accident, I'm just going to move my eye over here. Does that make sense? Let me know. I'll do it in this one as well. So here you're getting a real sight into it. It is actually like you're just at home with me sewing when I'm like, ah, done that wrong. I will avoid unpicking where possible because I just hate it so much. Okay. Right, so this next bit, maybe I'll just keep on this camera for a wee bit actually. Or the close-up camera might be better to show you. It's really easy at this next bit to sew the left hand pocket piece onto the right hand pocket side, and then your pocket bags when you go to stitch them up won't meet. So what I mean is you need to make sure, so this next bit is going to be basically a pocket piece we're going to be stitching on to Erica, the first line was correct, it's where I stitched it wasn't right. So I should have stitched to the left or the right of the centre line. So both your pocket pieces should be stitched either side of that eye shape. And I stitched it right down the centre of the line, which I shouldn't have done. So the actual marking was correct, but I've just moved it over. If that makes sense. Right, so what we need is to make sure, so this piece here is basically going to get stitched on there, right? But we need to make sure that when this folds back on itself that it's the same shape as that. Which you can see, they fit nicely. Now let me show you what it would look like if it's the wrong piece. Just like that. Would be there. And you can see they don't match up. So make sure you've got the right pocket piece here. Okay. doing is we're going to match this up. And here is where your original eye shape would have been, in that centre, and like that at the top. So I am now going to stitch down here to attach that. This might mean that the amount of the kind of facing, if you like, of the, let me get it up, this one, I'll command them. So because of the way I've done it, it might mean that this is smaller. So this is basically the width of that eye shape. So if you make the eye shape narrower, then this will be narrower. So it's good to know how to do that in case it is a design feature that you want to add in. Right, I'm going to pin this on. Now, I'm going to go about 1 centimetre in from my raw edge here, the raw edge of my jersey pocket. If anyone's using the leopard or the sunflower velvet, my pins are really struggling to go into it actually, and my machine's struggling a wee bit to go into it. It's quite, it doesn't feel thick and it's quite drapey, but sorry, I knew that would happen at some point. Right, let me just double check that this is right before I sew it. Okay, that looks good. And this line, I want it to be parallel to the line of stitching that I've done here. So I'm just going to measure it and make sure that it's parallel, because otherwise it might look a bit rubbish. So it's about, I've got about 2.5 centimetres over. That suits me fine. I'm just going to stick with that. What was the original? 3. So maybe 5mm shorter because of my going off pieced already. Make sure that wherever you stopped sewing the last time is wherever you stop sewing this time. Okay. That looks good. I'm going to pin my other one on in the same way. So again, I'm working, this is the right sides together. And I'm just folding that over just to doubly make sure that that is the right shape, which it is. And then I'm pinning it on. Nikki says my pins are struggling with the sunflower fabric too. Yeah, it's weird that, actually, because it's not thick. It's not a particularly thick fabric, but it must be that, I suppose it's a super tight weave, the fabric that the velvety nap is on. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that this is also 2.5. Over. Is everyone following me? Have I confused anyone horrendously? Hopefully not. Right, I'm just going to read ahead to make sure I'm not making any more horrendous mistakes here. Okay, that should be fine. Okay, I'm going for it. I feel like I might end up getting accused of not actually sewing the first one myself if I make any more mistakes, so the pressure's on. People think I just get Colette to sew the stuff for me and then I pretend it's me. Right, let's bring this back. Yeah, you can hear my needle not particularly enjoying this fabric either. This is, I think I've got a denim needle on here. Don't want any tucks in there. Okay, that looks good. Same on this one. Okay, we are done. Is everyone keeping up with me okay? We're 50 minutes in and I've done 2 rows of stitching, that's great. Okay. Right. Now, here is where you want to cut along. So the kind of eye shape that we've got here. Let me change my camera, show you. Because it's white, it's kind of been a bit glary actually, so it might be better just holding this up to show you. You can see that. Let me change it. Right. So the eye shape that you've got, we'll be cutting along it. So we'll be cutting along the centre line. At the end, you want a V shape. So this is actually the shape you want to be cutting. So you're not cutting, you're cutting the kind of V shape there and then right along that centre line. Don't cut through the pocket on this side, so be careful. If you're cutting from the wrong side, make sure you don't cut through the pockets. That will not be a good look. You'll be like, I'm sure I had some sweeties in that pocket, and then it'll just be either in the lining or gone forever. It says maybe we can start doing the so-longs wearing a cute full face mask. Customers will never know which one. Well, you will know, because if there's any unpicking at the first step, you'll know it's me. Listen, this is real life. We're giving you real life here. I'll unpick a lot. Okay. So I am cutting very close to the stitch lines. So that's what it should look like. I'm going to do the same to the other side. Okay, both of them are done now. And that's your pockets finished. Only joking. The pockets honestly take up most of the time because you need to think about them so much. Adele says, I remember you helping me with these types of pockets for a jacket for my son and John Lewis. This is good. So this is proof from someone else that I have done these pockets before. Doesn't prove that I made that one that's on the mannequin right now. Adele, if you let us know what colour zip you need, we can try and find it for you. If that's the only thing stopping you, we will help. Right, so get the iron on. Need the iron again. Get your cordless iron on if you've got one. Okay. So we want to push all of these bits through the hole that you've just cut so that they are now on the wrong side. Like this. Pull them through and flatten them out. This is where you sometimes, excuse me, need to do some more snips. So, excuse me, when you're putting this pocket through, we should be able to press it. I have a total frog in my throat. We should be able to press it so that it sits nice and flat. If you've got any like bumfly bits at the corners, it's because you've not snipped close enough to the 2 rows of stitching, which is really, really easy done. So you quite often have to go back in and just snip it a wee bit closer. I think I am going to be alright here. Okay, so I want you to press this nice and flat. So I'm going to press it, and then I am going to see what it looks like from the outside once it's pressed. I think it's going to be fine. This looks okay. Is this making sense? So it should look like this on the wrong side, and it should look like that on the right side. I'm just going to snip a wee bit more at one of my corners so that it sits better. Even another wee millimetre makes all the difference. Okay, that looks good. Happy with that. Right. These are looking nice. I'm happy with that. How are we getting on? Let's see what the chat's saying here. Teresa, hello, missed the start. We'll watch this now. Make mine later. Loving your fabric. Thanks, Teresa. Right, let's do prize for the best bomber jacket photo. This is a good shout. Let's give folk a little bit more time, Colette, to do it. So, what date are you suggesting? Yeah, tag us. Check in, that would be fab. Next Monday. So not this Monday, but next Monday. Okay, that's perfect. That gives like a week and a bit. I will give away one of these irons to whoever, to the best photo. So it doesn't need to be the best jacket. It has to be the best photo so you can get creative with it. That's a good idea. And you will love this iron. It is great. So good. 31st of August. Perfect. Okay. So these should be sitting nice and flat. If you're working with any of our velvet kits, the actual velvet doesn't really press very well, so you're not going to get a crease in it, so don't worry. With a, what am I on, a 2-dot iron, I think. I've got the heat on 2 dots just now. Be careful that you don't melt. Some velvet melts. I haven't tested this stuff on like a high iron heat, but just be careful in case it melts. You can use a cloth on top of it if you want to press from this side. Pressing from the wrong side seems to work okay though, so that should be fine. Right. I've got the fear about doing this pocket wrong now, but there we go, that's it. Now, okay, cool. Right, let me get the close-up only on. Show you this next bit. So here, so that's what you guys have from the inside. So this bit here is your interface bit, the bigger pocket piece, the piece that we stitched on first of all. See, it's interfaced here. What we want to do is fold this until it meets here. So when you fold this over, like that, keeping this flat underneath here. This is a little bit fiddly because this is trying to get in the road. Right. That like that. Okay, I'm going to stick some pins in this and then flip it over just to show you what this looks like from the other side and why we're doing it. Okay. So, what this looks like from the right side. Make sure these wee triangle-y bits stay out the road. Right, there we go. That is what this looks like from your right side, and that is exactly what you want. Then, basically, you can see that this pocket lining sits down on top of that other piece like that, and we'll be stitching that. But the first thing it wants us to stitch, so it wants you to press this like that, and then does it want you to stitch that in place? Right, okay, do you know what, press this first and then I'll show you the next step. I'm just going to do it to my other piece so that I don't have to take 2 trips to the ironing board, which is miles away behind me, you know. Jacqueline, first pocket done. Well done, you. Okay, there we go. press these. Right, help my iron's plugged in. So good. Okay. So now we are stitching. So we're stitching not through to the front of the jacket, we're stitching the pocket lining to that little triangle bit here, okay? So we'll be stitching it along there. So you will not see this on the outside, but what it will do is it will secure this shape for you on the outside and stop that kind of flapping about. So just take your time with this, because if you don't take your time, it can look a wee bit rubbish on the outside. So pin it, check it from the outside, then stitch it. I tend to pin exactly where I plan to sew so that when I turn it out to the right side I can see if it's going to look good or not. Okay, that's going to look fine. So, should look nice and neat. This will come off. That's just chalk from the right side. Okay, I am super happy with that. That looks nice. Same on the other one. You definitely deserve a cup of tea once you've done your pockets. That's official. It's the hardest bit, pretty much done. Okay. Oops. iPad falling over. Okay, so now we're just going to stitch up the pockets. Then you're done. So she's using overlocker for her pockets. I'm just going to use my sewing machine because this is not going to fray anyway. So all I'm doing is so that's where we were. That's the wee bits that have been stitched a minute ago. And then this pocket piece is going to sit on top. And no stitching will be going to the outside. We're stitching through here. So this will be completely like that. But you're going to be stitching round like that, not through any of the velvet. If you want to use your overlocker, you can. I'm just going to use my sewing machine because this isn't going to fray anyway. So it's not a big deal. You pop a couple of pins in. I think if I crack the pockets, all I can say is bring on the wedding gowns. That is the spirit, Anne. These pockets actually, see if you were reading this at home, you'd probably be able to do it absolutely no bother, but I did it right first time on the navy blue one, I promise. And actually this has worked fine as well. It's just a wee bit further over than it should be. They're very satisfying, these welt pockets. They look really good. Might have to just wear this straight out as soon as I've made it, you know. It's going to be, so that's what I did with the navy blue one. I was like, right, I'm going to the supermarket with my new jacket on. Steve's like, right, okay, whatever. I think he's used to my strange antics. Right, let's re-stitch this. The seam allowance on this pattern, by the way, is 1 centimetre unless stated otherwise. For your pockets, it's not a huge problem if you stray. I wonder why that was going so slow there. Must have nudged the speed control on this. Oops. So there we go, one pocket done. Perfect. Same on the other one. So just before I came on live there, I was having a bit of a situation with the technology. That's why you might have seen I did a test twice. First time I went on, it only worked on YouTube, only went live on YouTube, didn't go onto Facebook, and I was like, oh my goodness. Why is this not working? Couldn't figure it out. Anyway, turns out since the last live, the software that I use now makes you pay to go on to more than one platform at a time. So, but it did take me quite a long time to figure it out, and I did start freaking out a bit. I was a bit flustered and wasn't ideal, but I have no plans to get another computer anytime soon, so it will not happen again. Technology, eh? But I did manage to get my microphone working, because last time it was just my MacBook microphone I was using, and I don't think the sound was that good. So I'm delighted that I cracked that at least. A little victory. Oh my goodness, this is going to look so good when it's done. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice. This is going to look great. Okay, brilliant. Fabulous. Let's have a drink of juice. See what the next step is. Okay, so if you're doing the lined version, the instructions then go on to telling you how to do the lined version. It's very similar, but I'm not doing the lined version, so I'm just going to skip to the right bit. If you're using the velvet, a lining's not necessary because it's already quite heavy. It's actually cosy, that velvet one. So you don't need a lining, but you can obviously put a lining in if you like. Turn that iron off. Right. You can do kids versions of this as well. Is there anyone doing a kids version? You're very cute. I know that some people messaged me and said that their daughter had seen it and wanted one, which is great. I love that. Like a mini version. Right, went the right bit. Okay, so now we're going on to shoulder seams. So grab the back piece. Now I'm going to start jumping between my sewing machine and my overlocker. So back piece you want to lay down in front of you, right side up, like this. And then your shoulder seams go on top. So your front pieces, sorry, matching up your shoulder seams. That on there. We're not doing the side seams, just the shoulder seams here. So pin, and then with a 1 centimetre seam allowance you want to stitch them. If anyone hasn't cut out yet, I did a very, very quick, when I was cutting this out yesterday, I've not edited it yet, but I did a very, very quick video on pattern matching, like simple pattern matching. I didn't have time to edit it, like I said, unfortunately, but I will get it sorted and I'll put it out there. I'll try and do it today, actually. I'm not absolutely done in after this, because this, like, I know that it seems like I'm just sewing here, but I'm so tired after it. Same with if I'm ever on Sewing Street. It makes you so sleepy. Okay, I think I'm just going to overlock these two together. Well, I'll do it separately. Nah, I'm going to do it together. Why are you not plugged in? There you are. So then overlock or zigzag the raw edge. Look you back up again. Long petal. Then grab your sleeve piece. Okay, so Miranda, well, I'm glad you've got us on for a bit of... Okay, now, basically, I'll just tilt you down again. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got this wee bit out of the way. I've got this open in front of me. My sleeve is the next bit that we're doing. So my sleeve's going to go into this space here. Now what you'll have 2 notches at the back. Your 2 notches always go at the back and your 1 notch always goes to the front. That is like universal. There's my notch, there's there. And it means that we can put our sleeve in correctly. So my seam, if you've pressed your seam allowance for the shoulder seam open, then have one half going to the front and have the other half going to the back. If you've overlocked it together or zigzagged it together, push it to the back. So I'm going to push mine to the back. And then with right sides together, I've got the correct sleeve here because my centre point's here, my 1 notch is here, and this is the front, so these 2 bits are going to match up. And then my 2 notches is here, and my 2 notches are there, so those bits are going to match up. So I'm going to start pinning this in. This is the easiest way to put in a sleeve, this flat way. My pin does not want to go through all these layers. There we go. So I'm going to match up my notches first and then worry about the in-between bits after. I need a bigger table, I think, so that I can have my laptop elsewhere. So I'm just going to keep moving around, matching those notches. Is anyone doing this that hasn't put a sleeve in before? This is the easiest way to do it for sure. Okay, so I've put a pin, the sleeve head, the front notch, the front end of the sleeve, I suppose the underarm sleeve, and then I put a pin in at my double notch and at the other end of the sleeve. And now I'm just going to, if necessary, you can stick some pins in between those bits if you want to. Probably don't need one there. You will need one between the notch and the sleeve head because you just have to manipulate this in, so just pushing it down, and even if you get a couple of wee wrinkly bits, it will be okay. You'll be able to stretch it in as you sew. And remember that the bits that need to match is a centimetre in, not the very, very edge. So as long as a centimetre in, you can get this flat. I'll show you what I mean. So here, this is wrinkling, right? But as long as I am able to stitch without any wrinkles at this point, then these wrinkles are fine. So don't worry about that. There's not much give in this fabric, so just be careful of any tucks. Right, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to sew it together. Back on my sewing machine again. With my 1 centimetre seam allowance as well. little bit of manipulating needed here. And pulling it if you have to. Stitch from the sleeve side up, not because that's where you get a tuck, so you can prevent a tuck by stitching the sleeve side up. See how we're looking. I mean, this is going to be pretty extra. Excellent. That looks good. If you want at this point, you could also overlock your raw edge in here. You might want to snip it a little bit, make sure it's sitting nice and there's no tucks or anything, and then do your other sleeve in exactly the same way. Where's my other sleeve gone? Oh, it's on the floor. Hayley, this is called Leopard Leaves. It's a velvet. I don't know if it looks like a velvet on screen, but it is a velvet. It's on our website if you want it. We've got kits that have got all of the fabric that I'm using today and your zip and your interfacing. Or you can just buy the fabric by the metre if you'd prefer. Is everyone who's sewn along doing okay? Is anyone making the same jacket as me? Live. I know we definitely sold some kits with this fabric, but I'm not sure if anyone who's live right now is doing the same one. Let me know. Nikki says, definitely have a few pin casualties but managing okay. Yeah, you saw me go over a pin there, which I meant to take out. There's Colette giving you a wee link to the fabric that I'm using. Time are we at? Not bad for time actually. Doing okay, I think. Teresa, the diamond velvet's so nice. It's a nice choice. People kept asking me how long it took me to sew all the beads on the front, because from afar a lot of folk thought that was like a big beaded applique type thing on it. I was like, it's printed. Second sleeve in. Overlock it if you want. I might just overlock mine later so that I don't go over time too much. Okay, that looks great. I'm happy with that. This fabric is fleecy inside, so I'm covered in fluff. Oh no, Ellie. Is that the pink stuff that you sent us a picture of? Heather says, I'm finding it really useful just watching. Good. I suppose sometimes watching something through, you'll be like, oh, actually that's not that difficult. So even if it gives a couple more people the confidence to just give something like this a go, then that is a win in my book. Okay, now I think it's the underarm next. I'm following the rules, yes it is. So we're going to be stitching under here, down the side. So we want to match this under arm seam. So right sides together. Matching these first of all, and then we'll be stitching from the cuff through the underarm to the bottom hem. a couple of pins in here to keep me right. Jacqueline, why does one sleeve always go in easier? It's just one of those things. It's always the same. So this will be another 1 centimetre seam allowance. '63 viewers. I think we've got more than we had last time. I think we had about 48 or something last time. That's good. Myra, just normal interfacing I've used. You're not using a stretch fabric, are you? Even if you were, I would still use a normal interfacing actually, because you actually don't want it to have any give really in the areas that it wants interfacing, like when you're doing the pocket bit. I'm going to run this through my overlocker as well actually, just so it's done. And then I'm going to do my other side exactly the same. Sheena, this sewing machine cuts off your threads for you, yeah. It's a Janome M200 QDC. The cutty button, which I call it, I don't know what it's called, it's probably called the cutter button. I call it the cutty button. Is honestly an absolute dream. It's probably my favourite feature on this machine, and this machine has a lot of features, and that's my favourite. I can show you the overlocked seams close up. Yes, I can. in a minute, no problem. So the overlocker cuts everything off as well. I'm sure you know that. You were talking about my sewing machine, weren't you? When you were talking about the threads that were getting cut off. I think you emailed us, and I did try and email you back, but for some reason it bounced earlier. So I did try and email you back, but it came back saying it didn't recognise your email. Right, here's the overlocker. That is what my overlocking stitches look like. Right, that's my sleeves done. Oops. What's going on? Put it on. I've got a mirror over here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. This is very cute. Okay, happy with that. See what the next step is. Okay, grab your waistband, the next bit. My hair's been driving me mad today, so I got this mousse, and I just bought it with my shopping, and I didn't really realise what it said. I didn't read it or anything, and then it said volumising mousse on it, and I thought it's not really going to work. It'll be fine. It won't work. It won't be that volumey. Anyway, put it in my hair, blow dry my hair, wild. My hair was like out to here. I looked like Gwendoline from Wallace and Gromit. So the VO5 volumizing mousse, they're not lying about that. So don't buy it if you do not want volume. If you've already got too much volume, don't buy it and don't use it. I can't seem to calm it down. It's still absolutely bonkers. Curly hair issues. Okay, fold your waistband lengthwise, wrong sides together and press. Okay, so that means this. Fold it like that. I want you to press it and then just stitch it on to the bottom. Cool. So I'm going to press this in half, turn my iron back on. Okay, done. I'm going to use my overlocker to stitch this in. Only my overlocker. Okay, so this is going onto the right side of my hem. So I'm going to match this up with, first of all, the edge of my jacket, so my centre front. Pop a pin in there. And then the other edge I'm going to put on my other centre front, because this waistband is smaller than your jacket, so that it stretches it in a little bit. So what I would do is find the centre point of your it's not a waistband, but it is kind of a waistband, what is it they call it? Of the bottom stretchy bit, and line it up with the centre point of your back jacket piece so I can still see the fold on this. So I'm just going to put a pin in that and then find the centre of my jacket. Easiest way to find the centre is to put your two side seams together. Then you'll be able to find the centre, no bother. Match them up. And then stretch the rest in so that it fits. So putting pins at just certain points along the way, because you'll see here that this needs stretched to fit, see? Just try and stretch it in evenly. If you want to find the quarter points of the waistband and the quarter points of the jacket, you can do that as well, just to keep yourself right. That's fine. I love this ochre colour just now. It's actually all over my house as well. I've got it everywhere. So let's hope it stays in fashion for a while. Otherwise, I'm going to have to redo all my soft furnishings. That and navy. I've gone through a real navy phase. Hayley, how long have I been sewing? Well, I have been sewing since I was 16. I am now 33. I've been sewing for a long time. I've been teaching since, so I started the business in 2012, but I was teaching before that, so I was probably teaching in like 2010, 2009 maybe even. So I've been teaching for a long time, as well as sewing for a long time. Wasn't concentrating and I've sewn one of the sleeves inside out. Don't worry about it, Nikki, it's totally fine. It could be worse. You could have like overlocked a sleeve off by accident and you've just chopped it in bits, so get a wee cup of tea, a wee biscuit, unpick it, it's all good. Yes, we do have some limited edition overlockers coming in. They are not available very often from Janome. So if you want to be the first to find out about them coming in, let me know. Let us know. We can pop you on the list of people who want to know about overlockers. Sewing machines are like gold dust just now. You still can't really get your hands on them. It's wild. Absolutely wild. Okay, I'm going to go for this, I think. Just make sure you've got an even distribution of fabric, so you're not going to have a big gathered bit on this side and then a flat bit on that side. So that's why I'm always like, pin the edges in, then pin the centre point, and then you can even pin the quarter points in, and then it means that the gather essentially is a gather because this fabric's stretchy, just so that it's evenly distributed. Otherwise it can look a bit weird, so be mindful of that. I'm going to do this just on the overlocker. Can you even see that little, see this looks small on my screen, but can you see that little close-up bit? Is it just annoying? Obviously I didn't do that before because I didn't know how to, but I've gone up in the world and now I know how to do a couple of different fancy bits on here. Let me know. Where is everyone sewing from as well? That's always interesting to know. Where in the world are you? Is everyone UK based? Have we got anyone from outside the UK? I've got 64 people viewing, so it'll be cool to know where you're all from, where you're all watching from. Jacqueline, I did not interface the first time I did it. I did not interface the neckband, but I think I might try it this time to make it sit a bit nicer. Okay, so we've got Fife, Coatbridge, Blackpool, cool. Balmullo, Fife. Mulgai, Yorkshire, Northern Ireland. Cool. I like the wee screen, not distracting. Thanks, Teresa. Wales. Cool. All over the place. I guess if you're watching this on like your phone, then that wee screen's going to be tiny. But if you're watching it on a tablet, it might be alright, or on a laptop even. Might be okay. That's that in. Now it says to press it up. Pressure seam allowance up. I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to press it. I'll deal with it later. Then on to cuffs. So let me show you this first. That's looking pretty good. I'm happy with that. So this can go to one side. Grab your cuffs. Okay, a little bit like this. Then it's saying with right sides together, fold your cuff with the short edges going together. So these two edges like that. And then you want to overlock or stitch down this short edge here. Same on the other one. Right sides together. Then this is getting folded wrong sides together now, so that there'll be no like stitching available on the outside. It'll all be nice and it'll look like a wee cuff. So I've got all like that, and that is in the inside, so that's wrong sides together. And then this will be getting stitched into our sleeve. I'll just do one of these so that it doesn't take up too much time, just to show you how to do it. Cut these bits off. So see, when you're trying to work out how to do something like this, I would always just think about, right, how do you want it to look? So here's my sleeve, and just play about with it until you know that you've got it right. So my sleeve's here. I know that I want this to go on there like that, so how do I make that happen? So and I know that I want my raw edges, so you always want your raw edges together and your right sides together. I also want to match this seam with the underarm seam on the sleeve, which is this one here. So I'm going to place this on over the top of this. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either have it in the inside or the outside. What's going to be easier to sew? I'm going to go with this and see. I can't remember what way I did it the last time, but if we put this over the top, here, that's my folded edge, that's my raw edge. Then I can start to pin these bits together. So with this, you definitely want to do the whole halfway points, quarter points. You can either mark it with chalk or mark it with pins. It's up to yourself. So I'll stick a wee pin in there. So my halfway point, I'm going to make a wee mark. That's a halfway point. That is a quarter point. Do this with necklines quite often as well. That's a quarter point, and then same on this. Wales, Warwick, Steps, Clarkston, Edinburgh. Who do you follow on Twitter? What was I talking about there? Yes, this is a Choco liner. Colette will put a link in for you. They are wonderful creations. They're my absolute favourite for marking. Oh right, there's a campus cat. Oh, there was no campus cat at my uni because it was the city centre. Rolf is such a good name for a cat. Love it. Okay, so I pinned this in at 4 points. When I'm stitching this, I'm going to use my overlocker. What I'm going to have to do is stretch it so that it fits. And if I don't stretch it enough and I keep taking my pins out as I go and moving the excess, you're going to end up with a tuck at the end. So you need to make sure that wherever your pins are, that's where you stitch. There's a wee link to the Choco liner pens. Linda says, really enjoying this, reminds me of the great sewing classes you did in the shop. Oh, Linda used to have an amazing shop that just sold the best fabrics. I miss popping in and seeing you. And I ran some classes for her, and Linda is like a wild good baker, and I used to just, obviously, in fact, that was a long time ago. It might have even been before I had tutors that I started with you, but I didn't really teach very much, and I used to put myself in for a lot of Linda's classes because the cake was just so good. Right, I'm going to bring you in a wee bit closer here and show you what I'm doing on this overlocker here. Right, so be careful of your pins on your overlocker because they will wreck your blade if you hit them. So I'm just pulling it tight as I go round, making sure all my 3 edges are together. Then you've got your cuff. This is coming together nicely now. Wee cuff there. Oh yeah, this is good. Loving it. Ellie says, I second that, the best cake. Indeed. So, Linda, Ellie Turner on here used to teach for me, for you. And Colette misses your cakes too. There you go. You've got an appreciation society here. Okay, that's looking great. I'm happy with that. I think the next bit is the neck. Oh no, it wants us to put the zip in first. Okay, cool. Zip time. Playing Bob and Chicken and you lost. Oh dear. Happens to the best of us. Right, now when I put my zip in, I'm going to need to be really careful because I really want the front to match. I've cut it out as precise as my brain would allow, and I've got high hopes for it. So let's see. Got a yellow zip. Okay. So, zip foot on your sewing machine. I need to sort these, by the way. I didn't make this, in case you're thinking, that's awful. This is a short bought one. It's not sitting right. Right, zip foot on. Thought we were going to get a pretty much bark-free session there. Can you hear the dog going bananas in the background? Stella! Right. Don't worry if your zip is too long, by the way, we can chop it down. Because I shortened the body in this, my zip is too long, but that's okay. Right. So starting with one side, I have actually drawn in a line that's a centimetre in from my edge here. So that line is my centre front, and that line is the line that I use to match my other pattern, which will make sense. I'll get the video up that I filmed, very short video yesterday about pattern matching, but this line is where I want my stitching to be, really. Now, the pattern matching on this doesn't have to be exactly precise from when the jacket closes like that, because there's a zip in the way, so there is something breaking that pattern up. But you want it to be precise, so you don't want it to go ski whiff like that. So you don't want like the leopard's back to be there and then the back to be there on that side, because that's going to really look worse than if you hadn't pattern matched at all. So if you're pattern matching at all, you may as well do a good job of it if you possibly can. This zip is going, so again you can do the whole how do I want it to look thing. So I know that I want my teeth to be available to me on the outside. I know I want my puller here to be available to me on the outside, and I know that I don't want this raw edge. So sometimes if you're trying to figure out how to put a zip in, See if you fold it like that, I know that that is what I want this to look like. So how does that translate? And that translates like this. That raw edge to that raw edge. So I'm going to pin this in, and I'm going to pin it so that I want to be stitching on that line there. So I'm going to try and be as precise as I possibly can. Is anybody doing anything nice tonight? Or later today actually? It's quite sunny outside in Glasgow, which is rare. Samantha, what are you embroidering on the back? Right. I've got my zip foot on. That's not going to let me stitch very close, so I'm going to actually move in a bit closer now. There we go. Nats. Okay, so I've pretty much stitched where I want to stitch. I'm quite happy with that. So that's one side of my zip in. This is going to look so cool. And then, without opening the zip, we're going to stitch the other side into the other front piece. So this is where the pattern matching comes in. So this is where you need to be mindful. If you're pattern matching, you don't have to, of course. So I'm going to pin this zip in, and I'm going to be checking for the pattern as I go to make sure that it matches. So the cat is really the bit that I really want to match, so I'm going to start pinning there. That's like the most important bit. a look. I've put like 2 pins in there. That looks not too bad. Maybe a tiny bit lower. Let's see. Okay, that looks better. Okay, I'm going to keep pinning and then I'm going to double check it before I stitch it. Right, this is looking alright. Oops. These sleeves out the way, they're annoying. Oh, thanks Samantha. I do love yellow. Right, I've pinned this in. I'm just going to have a look at it and see what it's looking like on the inside, and it's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to go for it. I'm sewing. So, I mean, the hardest thing about stitching stretch and non-stretch together is stretch wants to stretch and non-stretch doesn't, so you might just take it easy at this bit here, at the bottom. don't really want this to go ski with if I can help it, because it will knock my pattern out, so just... The thing about zip feet, right, you need them if you sew zips in, but they push fabric out of the way a lot. And it's annoying. I think I'll be alright. See what I mean? I'm already pushing this. Right, just need to take it easy. Okay, moment of truth. If this has gone ski with, I'm not going to be happy about it. Let's just turn it out actually. Oh my god, it's moved. Can I be bothered doing it again? Right, I think that is going to be noticeable. That's going to annoy me. See that? I don't think I can deal with that. That back's higher up. Nope. It's a no from me. I need to unpick it quickly. You know what would be handy here? You know that double-sided sewing tape stuff that you get? That sticks your zip in for you first? That's what would be good here. Do you know what? Something's worth doing, it's worth doing well, right? Even if you are live. Time are we at anyway? Okay, we're fine for time. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it in first with a big long stitch. And then if it looks good, I'll stitch over it again. Right, let's get this done right. Where's everyone else at? How's everybody doing? Let me know. So since the cat is the bit I want to match, I'm going to stitch from the cat up and then from the cat down. I think that's the way forward here. So I'm going for that. Let's see. My rib wasn't stretchy enough, so I had to recut the pieces. Oh, that's annoying. Linda, I've started using quilting clips instead of pins on my zips and you don't really get much movement. That's a good shout, actually. Nikki, attaching my waistband after sorting out the sleeves. They're now both right way round. Good job. That is brilliant. Melanie, I'm putting my zip binding and it's actually giving me life. It's such a nice wee thing. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? The zip binding's nice. Got the zip in, looks okay, but I don't have a leopard. It's right side of the zip to the right side of the fabric, Anne. If this isn't right, then the universe doesn't want me to have a matching leopard. That's much better. That is much better. Yeah, so I'm just going to do the other bit of the zip then. The other bit you really want to match is where the binding bit, the hem binding goes on. You don't want that to be skewy because you really notice that. So be aware of that also. Just matching up. Okay, that looks good now. Okay. Oops. Oh. Right. Binding. Right, so now if your zip is longer, this is my neckline here, you want to cut your zip at this point. Now make sure your puller is at the bottom and it's not at the top. You don't pull your puller off. That is a nightmare. So I'm just going to cut this off. And now once you cut that off, do not use your zip until we put your neckband on. Right, I just cut strips of fabric to cover the raw edge of my zip. But you can use bias binding if you want. Let me put the other camera on. So if you're not doing the lining, if you're doing the lining, then this is not something you have to worry about, this bit. Basically, so you want to be right sides together here. So we will be stitching the raw edge of this binding piece to the raw edge of the zip here, right sides together, stitching along here. Then once that's stitched in, it'll be getting folded back, folded under, then folded flat like that, and then we'll be stitching it, we'll be top stitching this to secure the binding, and then it will look like nice and neat like that on the inside. So that's what I'm going to do now. Oh, my watch is talking to me. So I'm not going to pin this, I think I'm just going to go for it actually. What could possibly go wrong? Now, at the bottom I actually leave a wee end, a wee extra bit, because this gets tucked under, yeah. So overshoot that, like that. move this puller out of the way just to stitch this first bit because it's not letting me get anywhere near it. Here's my pedal bone. It's not letting me move past that chunky bit there. Okay, I'm now going to move this puller back out of the way again, if it will let me. There we go. It's just too chunky, it's not going to let me sew past it at all. Again, if you're using a stretch fabric or actually any fabric here, your zip foot is going to want to push this out of the road, so just keep a hold of it. And then this gets folded back, then folded under to hide the kind of raw edge of the zip there at the bottom, and then it gets tucked away under there. Go to big screen. So that's stitched on. This gets folded under, folded back on itself behind your zip, and then folded back like that, and then it gets stitched, top stitched from this side here. So on your inside it's going to look super nice and neat, like that. So I'm not going to do that because I'm going to try and move on to the neck band quickly, which I won't be able to sew in actually until I have done this binding, but we've only got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to move on to the neck band so you know what to do. Optional interfacing on this. I actually am going to interface this because I didn't interface the last one. You only need a half piece of interfacing, even though this is a whole piece, so only interface half of it. Put this iron on. Right. So your neckband gets folded in half like this. I've interfaced one side of it. And then with your right sides together, let's see if it tells us what side the interface should go on. I think the interfacing should probably go to the outside, like that. Right, so let me put you on the close up again. So let's find our centre point of this by folding it in half. Yeah. I can't remember if I stretched this in or not. Anyway, we'll see, because the interfacing has definitely made it, it's got rid of all of its stretch, so we'll see if this works. So find the centre point of your back piece. Match them up. So this would obviously have been cut off. It's an extra bit of binding. And then just pinning this along. So this bit would look like that, right? And this goes right to the end there. So yeah, it does work. So that's all pinned in. Same to the other side. So I'm not going to pin this end in because I've not done the binding on that end yet. Okay, but then what you do, I actually didn't stitch this bit in at this point. I then went straight ahead and put another bit of binding on first. So here at this point, you're wanting this to be right sides together. Your binding has to be longer than the neckband by, it says a ½ inch, so kind of 1.5 centimetres or so that it juts out a bit. And this gets put on in exactly the same way. So if I take my pins out and put them back in again here. This will just cover all these raw edges that we don't want to see. Okay, so that would get stitched in, and then this in the same way that we did the kind of the binding on. It's more of a traditional bias binding method, this one, I suppose. If I put these sideways, I can show you. Okay, so that will get folded up like that. I've got extra on here, so you wouldn't need that much extra. So this is the top of my zip here. This gets folded round like that, and then it gets folded back on itself. So all of these bits would get folded back on itself like that, and then it gets folded down again like that. Now what you'll find is there's a ton of bulk here, so what you'll need to do, I ended up cutting in a little bit and getting rid of this chunky bit. Let me show you that. So that gets folded over there, then it gets folded back on itself like that, then this whole bit gets folded under like that. So that's what this will look like at the top. It'll be nice and neat. There's a lot of bulk in here, so I would suggest cutting away a bit of this binding here, and even maybe a couple of these teeth in the zip, and then genuinely I would suggest hitting it with a hammer if it's bulky. With denim, that's what you do all the time, and this will behave the same. Just watch you don't damage the zip at the top. So the bit I would be hitting with a hammer would be here, that bit there, just to get it less bulky. And then that'll be you. That's it, done. That just needs stitched down, yeah. So nearly there. Let me switch my camera. This will be the rest of my afternoon then, finishing this. That's all the bits. Let me know how you get on. Linda says, I'm just loving your colour combo. Thanks. Well, you know I like a bit of colour. I'm not exactly a wee quiet navy kind of person really. I wanted to very quickly talk to you about a new thing that we've got coming up as well, that you might have heard me talking about before. I don't know if you're all like so confident customers already. I know that I obviously recognise quite a lot of your names and well, not faces because I can't see you, that's weird. So you might be in the social groups. We've got we run classes and we run online classes as well, and I am running a challenge in, it'll be, I can't even tell you what it is. This is the problem, it's supposed to be a bit of a surprise. I'm not supposed to tell you too much about it, and although this is live, it will be getting posted again, so I need to be careful what I say. I will be doing a challenge, and it'll be around more fashion-y type stuff. So obviously dressmaking's my thing, that's what I absolutely love doing, and it's around where do you go once you've kind of mastered patterns, or even once you've done a couple of patterns and you start thinking, I'd quite like to take a bit of that pattern and a bit of that pattern, put them together and add my own sleeves. So it's about how do you do that, how do you use your body measurements, use the mannequin to drape using traditional pattern cutting techniques to basically make whatever you want. So we'll be putting together the draping and drafting and design and commercial patterns, and kind of smooshing them all together and figuring out what's the quickest way for you to get to here's a design that I drew and now I'm wearing it type thing. So the challenge is totally free, so that's why I'm dying for everyone to get involved. We've never done it before, so it's hard for us to be like, this is what Janice, who did it the last time we ran it, says about this challenge. But it's going to be super creative. It's going to be about just taking things, inspiration from either from your head or from your existing wardrobe, like the top of that dress and the bottom of that one, put it together. Or even stuff from like the catwalk, so we could go crazy and get some really high-end stuff. And how do we make it? I've never done a course like this before. I've never done a challenge like this before. People have been asking me to do it for years. I've never done it because pattern cutting itself as a singular thing to learn is dull. It's like tech drawing. Some tech drawing is good. This is like not good tech drawing. It's a lot of maths. It's a lot of very precise markings. And I've kind of figured out a way to do it that's not boring. So please get involved. I'll put a wee link on here. You can sign up. I'm not sure if Colette's still here. Bless her, it's Colette's day off. She shouldn't even be on at all. I will put on a wee link and you can sign up to that challenge if you're interested. Or just sign up to get the information, then you can decide if you want to get involved. But it's going to be good fun. Sarah, you're making it all look so easy, Jenny. Did you see the start of the video when I put the pocket on wrong? There you go. I make mistakes as well all the time with sewing. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Remember, we've got mid show we decided to just put a competition on there. So tag us in your best. We'll put more information about this out somewhere where you can find it. Tag us in your photos of the bomber jacket. We're on Facebook. Obviously, you might be on the Facebook right now. So Confident Limited / So Confident Limited, I think, LTD. We're all just search for So Confident, you'll find us. We're on Instagram at So Confident. I'm on Instagram at So Confident Jenny. Tag us in your best, your artiest photos, and we're going to pick a winner on the 31st of August. Who's going to win my favourite new iron. So I'm going to get another one of them and I'll give one away to somebody. So get involved. I'd love to see your bomber jackets, and yeah, good luck. If you get stuck in any bit, let me know. If it's something that I haven't covered in here already, then let me know and I'll help you out. Anyway, thanks for watching. 48 viewers still. 3 hours 5 minutes. Like you guys are troopers for sticking with me. Nikki, you're welcome anytime. Linda, thank you. Really enjoyed this after lots of lone sewing during I know it's been. That's why I started doing the live so long. It wasn't for you guys, it was for me, because I like to chat to somebody while I'm sewing. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I look forward to. Well, do you know what? See, I'll do another one. So see if there's a pattern that you really want me to do. Send me some inspiration, and we can get another one done. And hopefully we'll have no tech issues because I still have the same laptop, so I won't be changing anything, deleting anything. Right guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a fabulous weekend. I look forward to seeing you on the challenge. Join my challenge. It's super creative. It's going to be good fun. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye.